Dear Myrtle, your friend in genealogy, but you know that this channel's all about creating journals to tell one ancestral story at a time. Maybe share an heirloom and the story behind it and the ancestor who had it. This is all about my learning how to share my family history in creative ways. This is part 2. We previously had used Stamperia's Garden um, paper pack to create the basis for the journal. And let me zoom out a little bit. You can see that the glue is still thinking about drying, but that's a-okay. It dries clear and it's still flexible. So now I want to show you what we're planning to do on the pages that are not journaling pages, something like this. I don't want just a blank page. So we are going to make a tuck spot and use these pre-designed items. All right, has journaling paper on the background. I mean, it's light enough that you could use any color. And I'm going to make the pocket out of this. It's the back of the cover that advertises that we're using Stamperia's Garden scrapbooking paper. Okay. And before we get started, I think what I will do is move the rest of these pages out of the way. We'll come to them another day. And I've got to show you that I don't measure stuff per se with a ruler. I figure out that I want to have a tuck spot that is this side of this page. All right, and not quite that wide. Let me move this. So here's how I do it. All right. So I know I want it to go about this far into the page. Okay, that gives me room to have a tuck spot showing what's inside. So I just mark where I need to cut. This is not straight, obviously, but it's okay because I use a cutter that is straight. Okay, so we now know that we need to cut a straight line here, and I will pull my lightweight cutter up in order to do that. Now, as you become more accustomed to your cutting tool, you'll recognize exactly where you need to line up your pencil marks. All right. Thankfully, you press your paper against this surface and this surface, and then you can be assured that this is going to be a straight cut. Okay. Now we're not throwing this away. These are still good items here. Very nice items. Let's see. I might even use this. All right, I'm thinking about it. All right, let's figure out where we're going to cut our next. Yeah, push it up against this and line up our pencil mark. And there we go. Okay, now we actually could make 2 tuck spots alike. We only need to trim this slightly, ever so slightly. So let's do that. Okay. It is interesting to use design elements more than once in a journal. And this is not anything that they gave us in directions to do. This is something we figured out to do ourselves. Now, if you have a little hole punch, let me pull one over. I'd recommend eyeballing about the middle of this unit. Okay, doesn't have to be perfect. All right, that's becoming more of a tuck spot, isn't it? Let me zoom in slightly. But let's put a little ink around it. Now I'm using Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. I tend to use that most of the time. And can also buy little Tim Holtz. You don't have to use Tim Holtz. You could use any design company's little inking pads. And you can replace these particular pads. Mine's getting kind of chewed up because I use a lot of cardstock. There's already some inking on that side. Let's see. Okay, so we're planning to put that there. May as well, while we're here, fix the other one. Okay, so I'm just eyeballing it generally to see. All right. This is a bigger journal than I normally make, but it gives us the chance to take a whole pack, almost a whole pack, because I love this design. The designs in it are just so yummy. Anyway, without any directions from the company, go forward with creating tuck spots and journaling spots, etc. All right. Now, okay, so I have been taught by Wendy to hold the side I do not want glue on. It needs to go here, here, and here on the reverse side so that we can place it on this journaling page. I'm going to move this because I may need to we'll save our good paper too. All right. I can easily wipe it off this mat, but not the paper beneath it. Okay. Now, because this page is so busy, I'm not using this on top. You can just see that from a design element. Plus, it's got advertising on it, but it's still very useful. Okay, let's see if we've got, well, we'll use this. We'll use my pH neutral PVA. Hold the side you don't want glued. All right. That's from Wendy of Wendy's Journal Adventures. She has not been recording lately on YouTube. Everything she does essentially is on YouTube. But that's because she's moving. She's selling their house they've lived in for years. She's downsizing per se, but she's going to have more. Oops, see, this is why we're doing it here. She's going to have more space for her crafting. She is also a gifted watercolor artist. Okay, now I am using and that's pulling off some of the ink that hasn't dried. Okay, I am using Tina's suggestion over there at Shabby Dabby Doodah's YouTube channel. I'm using a dry baby wipe to get all that extra glue off my mat and off the project. Okay, now we need to find something to stick in here. So I am thinking specifically of this. I am not sure if this is too big or not, but I'm going to cut around it and see what happens. We'll just go for it. Okay. Now, I don't ink around everything. I just thought that it provided more definition here. So there's no right or wrong. There's no rhyme nor reason to a lot of this. You just go for it. It's your journal. You get to do what you want. Is that going to fit even after I've cut that part off? We'll find out shortly. Now, I found, and I think a lot of junk journalists will agree, that it really helps if you have rounded rather than square edges on your items that you're tucking in. Oh, perfect. It's going to fit. All right, and I'm going to elect to put a tab on it. So this tab, what happened, you can cut them just out of a rectangle, but this one happened to be made, it's a little rough on the edge because I didn't, there we go. Happened to be made with my out of date, not out of date, it's out of circulation. They don't sell this anymore at Stamping Up, but it's called a whale punch. All right, but I do want to ink this. Just a little. And just like any tabs, they don't have to be in the center. They could be in any position along this journaling card. And you can see there is room to journal here. I think I'm going to put it right about here, but it has to go, yeah. That way we're not interrupting the reading of My Garden Feeds My Soul. I can speak, just not today. All right. And you have to put glue on both sides of this, since one side goes on one side of our journaling card and the other on the opposite side. Okay. Whoops, slipping. Trying to line up. There we go. Okay, and so that is our first tuck spot that we created. So now our cover looks like this. We have a tuck spot, we have a journaling card, and we're good to go. What we try to do is give more than one space to tell the story. Okay. Oh, I'm proud of that. I think it's turning out well. And there's nothing left to say but happy family tree climbing, everybody, and journal making. That's a wrap.